Hola! Today, we're going to take notes on how to conjugate verbs in el pretérito, which is the one of the two major past tenses in Spanish that we will be studying this year. To some of you, the pretérito may be review, and to some of you, it may also be completely new and something you've never seen before. Either way, we're going to go through today how to conjugate verbos regulares, or regular verbs in el pretérito, AR, ER, and IR. We're also going to learn how to conjugate a few verbs with spelling changes, and one stem changing verb, and a couple of irregular verbs in el pretérito, so that you can use them as we continue on with this unit about the conquest of the Spanish-speaking Americas, especially the Caribbean. So we can use them to talk about what happened. It's kind of hard to talk about history without discussing anything in the past. Okay? The first things you should know, and take a look at step A on your notes, is you should remember that, or recuerda que, usamos el pretérito para hablar de cosas en el pasado. So we use the pretérito to talk about things that are in the past. It is one of the two past tenses. And que ocurrieron una vez. That happened one time. This is your most basic rule for using the preterite, something in the past that happened one time. These rules will get more complex as the year goes on, but this will still really be one of the most important things for you to remember. Things that happened in the past and that happened one time. Now, let's get to conjugating. Yay! The first thing you need to do on la primera página, the first page, is write down the rules for conjugating verbos AR, or AR verbs in the preterite. Make sure that you add any accents because, as we'll go over in class tomorrow, whether or not some of these conjugations have an accent can completely determine or change the meaning of the verb. So, step A, primer paso, the first step, quita la AR, which means take off or get rid of the AR. And then añade estas terminaciones, which means add these endings for step B. Aste, o, amos, astes, and aron. Note that both the yo form, and the a usted form, o, have an accent. Now, pausa el video, pause the video, and conjugate the verb pelear, to fight, at the bottom of página una, the first page. When you're done, unpause the video and get ready to move on. On página dos, you'll notice that we're working with los verbos ER and IR. ER and IR verbs in el pretérito share a set of conjugations. There's nothing different about the conjugations for ER or IR verbs. They're identical, the endings that are used. Step A is quita la ER o IR, take off or get rid of the ER or IR. Step B, añade estas terminaciones, add these endings. Iste, yo, imos, istes, and ieron. You'll note that the I of the yo form and the io of the la usted form both have accents. It is very important that from the beginning you start writing that accent on the o of the la usted form to make sure that you're doing it correctly right from the start. Pausa el video otra vez, pause the video one more time, and conjuga, por favor, conjugate los verbos someter, to subdue or suppress, and descubrir, which means to discover, on página dos. Once you're ready, unpause the video and move on to get the rest of the notes. There are a few details you need to know, and right now when it comes down to these little nitty-gritty details, you only need to use them for the verbs we're giving you. However, you are going to see other verbs that follow these rules as we continue to go on, conjugating verbs in el pretérito. The nice thing about learning this in smaller scale now is that when you see more verbs that follow these same patterns, hopefully you'll be accustomed to doing it enough that it will make it a little less work to feel like you're comfortable with it as time goes on. So the first thing you need to be aware of at the top of Página 3 is that we have two verbs, dos verbos, que tienen un cambio de ortografía. A cambio de ortografía means a spelling change. In the bottom two forms, so the LA usted forms and the ellos ustedes forms. The reason for this is that you really can't have three vowels in a row in Spanish without there being some type of accent that separates them for the most part. So we can change that I in these endings to a Y to maintain that E sound without breaking the grammatical rule. So the two verbs that you need to write down at the top of Página 3 are creer, to believe, creí, creíste, creyó, creímos, creístes, and creyeron. And please note that creyó and creyeron have that Y instead of an I in the LA usted and ellos ustedes form. For destruir, to destroy, we have destruí, destruiste, destruyó, destruimos, destruistes, y destruyeron. Once again, in the LA usted and ellos ustedes forms, you will note that that I changes to a Y. Once you're set and you have everything written down accurately, you may want to highlight or underline that Y to help you notice it more quickly when you look at your notes as you do assignments. Move on to a few other spelling changes we're going to need to be aware of. All right, so otros verbos comunes con cambio de ortografía, so other common spelling change verbs. Verbs that end with car, gar, and zar have a spelling change in the yo form only and el pretérito. And in this particular unit, you're going to see only one verb of each type, one verb that ends with car and has that spelling change. You'll see it here, that's embarcar. One with gar and one with zar. Okay? The ones with gar and zar are going to be llegar and colonizar. And so once again, you'll notice with all three of them, the spelling change is only in the yo form and that everything else is completely, totally, and utterly regular. Make sure that you copy things down correctly, including the accents. For embarcar, to board a ship, we have embarqué, embarcaste, embarcó, embarcamos, embarcastes, y embarcaron. Once you have this down accurately, please move on to Página 4. Para los verbos gar, G-A-R, you'll notice that the yo form ending, in yo form only, is ge, G-U-E with an accent over the E. So for llegar, to arrive, make sure you copy down the conjugations accurately. Llegué, llegaste, llegó, llegamos, llegastes, and llegaron. Finally, the one verb ZAR or ZAR that we have is colonizar, and you'll notice that the ZAR changes to CE or CE with an accent in the yo form. So we have colonice, colonizaste, colonizó, colonizamos, colonizastes, y colonizaron. Once you're set, we have a couple more verbs to get down, and that's going to be time for you to do a little bit of practice. At the bottom of Página 4, you'll notice that we have one stem changing verb. And one of the things that you'll notice as we go on in the year is that stem changing verbs in the preterite do have some different rules than the ones in the present. Right now, you just have to copy down that rule, and we will be repeating it probably as we go over this particular verb and use it more often, and as I introduce additional verbs to you that are stem changers. But the main thing you need to know right now is how to conjugate the verb convertir, to convert in the preterite. The big thing you need to write down in terms of the rule at the bottom of Página 4 in section C is that verbs that end with the letters IR or IR verbs have a stem change in the LA usted and ellos ustedes forms. It's important to note that these verbs are also, that these IR verbs with the stem change are only verbs that are stem changers in the present as well. So convertir, which is a stem changer in the present, also has a stem change in the preterite because it is an IR verb. You'll note that convertir changes from a I, E to I, in the LA usted and ellos ustedes form in the preterite. So once again, you may want to highlight or boldface to make sure that you get accurate information. Your conjugations are convertir, convertiste, convirtió, convertimos, convertistes, and convirtieron. Finally, we're going to finish up here with one irregular verb that you really need to make sure you know. It's actually two verbs with one conjugation because ser to be and ir to go. Note, they have the same conjugation. And you'll notice at the top of Página 5 in the notes packet, it says una cosa importante. There's no usamos acentos, or we don't use accents, con los verbos irregulares en el pretérito. So once again, note that you will never use accents when you are conjugating an irregular verb in the preterite. So make sure that you do not write any accents on your conjugations of ser and ir. So for ser and ir, ser means to be, ir means to go. Our conjugations are fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuistes, and fueron. Be aware, just to make sure, yes, I thought that was the last slide. Okay, awesome. You do need to write down in the middle of Página 9 that what you should do with other irregular verbs you may want to use in this unit, like hacer, or poder, or poner, tener, venir. If you want to use any of those other irregular verbs while we're going through this unit, if you have an assignment you're completing and you really would like to use one of those verbs, please ask and I will give you a hand with the conjugations and let you know how they're conjugated. Right now we're doing an introduction. We'll get much more in depth with this throughout the year. But if there's something else you want to know that's not covered here, make sure please to ask. Now that you're done with el video, make sure that you complete the actividad on páginas 5 y 6 and have me check over your work before the end of class. Gracias.